Shannon, what's your response to all that?
Lord have mercy. Here we go again. How is this going to be Tom Brady's greatest challenge? He ended the season healthy. He ended the season leading the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns. He got a great, talented roster coming back. And somehow this is his greatest challenge ever. What Tom Brady is trying to do is undersell and overperform. But I'm not buying it. What bothers me most is that people want to make everything unique to Tom. Tom is the only one that studies so hard. He's the only one that wants to win so bad. And if you drop a pass, man, we've had to start entire practices over because somebody dropped a pass or you dropped two passes in a row. So this is not unique. You don't think Peyton Manning was upset when guys dropped a pass, or Drew Brees or Marino or Montana? That Tom Brady, everything is mutually exclusive to Tom. That if a player drops a pass in practice, only Tom Brady was the only one that got upset. If somebody made a mistake in practice, Tom Brady was the only one that gets upset. That Tom Brady is the only one that's mentally tough. Man, stop this. Nobody is trying to take anything away from Tom. But, geez, I mean, he's in one of the easiest divisions in football. Everybody is like, they headed west, young men. Like, everybody left the NFC, Skip, and went to the AFC. And this is going to be his toughest challenge ever? You can't even skip. You can't not even skip Bayless. The guy that loves Tom Brady. You got a Tom Brady T-shirt on up under your shirt. You can't even.
Not today, but I have had.
Skip, this is ridiculous. Now, come on. And we know that Tom gets away with behavior that they would have never allowed a black quarterback to do. But they toss it up. Oh, he's so competitive. He's firing those guys up. Nah, Cam couldn't fire guys up like that. Lamar Jackson can't fire guys up like that. Kellerman would never be able to fire guys up like that. You and I both know that Tom Brady has said this was the first time that he said something, the officials called it in the divisional game against the Rams. But we know that Tom has said things to the officials that they turn a deaf ear to and a blind eye. That no other quarterback, and especially one that didn't look like him, but I guess, hey, Tom has won 6 Super Bowls, so let him get away with whatever he wants. Man, this is so utterly ridiculous.
My turn. I believe that from the start, you have misjudged Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. because he's the ultimate wolf in sheep's clothing.
No, I had him pegged. No, you misjudged him. I had him pegged. I saw him for what he was all along. I didn't misjudge him.
In 2007, I was the one who nicknamed him Psycho Tom because I'd never seen a quarterback behave like he behaved on the field. This is going way back to that glorious year where they should have finished it off and Belichick's defense let him down in the Super Bowl. But the point is that in that year, you started to see Psycho Tom come out again and again in games. And it was not that becoming of behavior. And a lot of people, I believe, in New England did not love it because it was a little crazy. And I know nobody cares about who Anthony Nelson is, an outside linebacker for the Bucs. But when he goes off about this, he says he's just crazy. He's insane and in really a highly competitive way, but he's nuts. Well, the last time I heard something like that, it was about the guy I covered in Chicago who's not white. His name's Michael Jordan. And he, quote unquote, got away with all that because he was Michael Jordan, okay? And
well, the greater the talent level, they'll allow you to skate in certain situations.
Right. So it was almost that Brady delivered you a manifesto of what drives him at age 45. All that matters is, in his mind, it's his greatest challenge ever because he's going to do something that no one's ever done. He's going to play at a very high level at 45. No one's even thought about doing it.
He played at a high level at 41. He played at a high level at 42. He played at a high level at 43. He played at a high level at 44.
And he's going to do it again against all odds when everybody thought he was done and you thought,
he said it.
Thank you, God, he's out of my hair.
Skip, he said that. Nobody retired Tom Brady. He came out there and lied to the American people. He released that statement. You and I were sitting up here even when Christian Fourier and Kyle Van Noy and a lot of other guys said, I believe this is Tom last year. You and I both said, nah, he playing too well. Ain't nobody retired him. He retired himself and brought his butt back in here. So don't be putting that on somebody they retired him. No.
Okay.
He retired himself.
But I kept telling you, he didn't retire from football. He retired from Bruce Arians. And he got that fixed. Now, Bruce Arians is out of his hair, so he can go forward up against the greatest challenge ever, and he's on record. I want to go out there and have my best year yet at age 45. And I believe he believes that with all his heart and soul.
But at the end of the day, you can make a case last year was his best year ever. What did he get him? He's had years where he didn't throw as many touchdowns, didn't throw as many passes, and he won the Super Bowl. So are we measuring Tom Brady with stats now? Because we used to measure Tom Brady only through winning. So what is it? Are we doing stats now because he's 45, or are we going to do winning?
We're doing winning.
Okay, so it doesn't matter how good a season he has.
We're doing 24 unanswered points against the eventual champions.
Skip, they lost.
How much better can you do than 24 unanswered to get to 27
Carolina
all?
had a 40-25 lead, had a 15-point lead. At the end result, what does matter? Who's the national championship? Okay, it doesn't matter that Tom Brady scored 24 unanswered. Who went to the NFC championship game, and who was the Super Bowl champ this year? It was not Tampa.
So, again, this is almost a manifesto he delivered of how he goes about his business. And you talked earlier about how all the greats are still putting in the work. Well, this guy's beyond putting in the work. He's obsessed with it. He's watching tape at night in ways that probably the young quarterbacks don't watch at night, because he's out of his mind, obsessively, compulsively driven to go win another Super Bowl at age 45. Well, it's some quality that he was born with that you can't teach, you can't coach, and you really can't find. If you could pour it into some of the younger quarterbacks who have way more ability than he has, he's a supremely gifted, psychologically gifted overachiever, right? Wouldn't you say he's the ultimate overachiever?
He doesn't have the most physical talent, but he's as mentally tough, and he can understand, he can process information at a speed that very few in this game has ever been able to do. And that's what you have to do. You got to be mentally tough as a quarterback. Because, things are not going to, he's not going to throw every pass perfect. But what he's been able to do is that he's played the game so long. He's seen just about every defense that a coordinator could possibly throw at him. He knows where to go immediately with the football. He knows if one's gone, I'm looking at two. If two's not there, I'm for, hey, I can try to buy some time. Okay, I'm throwing it out of bounds. So he's really never going to put himself in harm's way. He's done a great job of that. And I commend him, because he's not going to take the big shot. He's not going to take that Justin Fields shot, because that shot would end his career.
It would.
He knows that.
You're talking about the one Justin took in a preseason game.
In a preseason game.
A blindside shot that felt like it almost separated his head from his body.
And it would have.
Yep.
But for me, Skip, this notion, man, come on, Tom. Bruh.
Okay, but I thought you would latch on to this whole idea of what he said, that at first the brain is saying, okay, the body's saying, no, I can't go on anymore. And finally, he says, for most of the people he plays with and around, finally the brain says no because the body is saying no. And that's where you got. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but I think the thing is, Tom, look, I don't know what the force is. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was like, I don't want to leave the game. I want to leave the guy that's coaching me in the game. But for whatever reason, he made a decision. He came back, and I think it was like 40 days. They say 40, 45 days, however the length of time was. And he's like, okay. But Tom knows, Skip, I think as he was thinking about possibly of coming back, he was putting in the work. You just don't all of a sudden says, I'm coming back, and start working the day you say that. I believe Tom was working out leading up to that day, saying that, okay, if I make this decision, I'm already ahead of the curve. If I don't, hey, I'm no worse for the wear. I'm good.
So finally, I keep reading that Giselle is not happy with this decision to, quote unquote, unretire.
Skip.
And I don't have much credibility put in the reports, but I'm going to guess she's probably not very happy.
She's not very happy. But Skip, she talked about that. He said in 2009 he wasn't going to play, but 2009, 2010, and we are 13 years later. So she's not happy. I believe look, B.A. might have been Bruce Arians, the head coach, might have been one of the reasons that he stepped away. But I do believe that family, that wife, and those kids had a large part. They're like, Tom, you need to step away. And he thought about it. God dang it, I ain't happy. I'm going back.
Because he's driven to go win another Super Bowl, and he's not going to be happy if he knows in his heart, I could still do that.
Right. And Skip's like a child, Skip. Don't you go out that door, and you got to think about it. Okay, now, if I go out the door, I know what's going to happen. I'm willing to deal with the ramifications.
Okay, so when
he going back to play, Skip, he's got to be willing to deal with the
when
ramifications.
he says it'll be my greatest challenge ever, I think he's putting into the context of my family's not happy with me. Okay, so here I go. I'm going at 45.
No, not family. I think his mom and dad, his sister, they're very excited. But
I think so.
I think somebody, when he came home, and he's like, when he made that announcement.
I'm talking about wife and kids, not happy.
Oh, he got that Will Smith treatment. I guarantee he got that Will Smith treatment when he said he coming back, Skip.
I think you're right.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.